Good morning, dear students. This is Gaurav, your maths teacher, and we are discussing direct inverse proportions. And today we are going to continue solving review questions. So, review exercise question number 10. The total monthly charges C dollars for a fixed phone line consists of a fixed amount of $9.81 and a variable amount which depends on the usage. For every minute, $0.086 is charged. If the duration is 300 minutes, find the total monthly charges for the fixed phone line. All right. So you know that total monthly charges is depending on two things. One is the fixed amount, and the other one is the variable amount. And this variable amount also is actually we get it by multiplying this per minute charge with the total number of minutes that I use, and it keeps on changing. That's why it's variable. Here it says if the duration is 300 minutes, that means we are going to get the variable amount first, and we are going to multiply 300 minutes with the per minute charge, which is 0.086, and then add into this fixed amount, which is 9.81. So we'll get the total monthly charges as $35.71. Now, if the total monthly charges for the fixed phone, what are the if the total monthly charges for the fixed phone line are $20.56, calculate the duration now. So we are going to use the same equation here, and we are going to form a new equation to find the duration now. Since we do not know the duration, we can assume that as x. So we can say that it is x, and the rest of this whole thing can be the same. Now, here we know this, that we are finding the usage, which is x, and we are going to now take this 0.086 as the denominator on the other side. So we are going to get what? Total monthly charges is 20.56 minus the fixed charges are 9.81 divided by per unit charge. So we are going to get 125 minutes as the answer. Last thing, we have to make a formula that will connect C and N. Now C is basically the total monthly charges, and N is the number of minutes in usage. So we are going to use the same equation, and we are going to replace total monthly charge with C, and this where we wrote as X, we will call it N this time. So we know that total monthly charges minus fixed amount is equals to 0.086 N, and this is basically C. So C minus fixed charges is 9.81 is equals to 0.86. We have to prove that both of these are directly proportional to each other. And how do we do that? When we are when we'll take this N as denominator on the other side, we are going to get a constant value here, which says or proves that this quantity, which is up, C minus 9.81 and N are basically directly proportional to each other. Let's solve the second question. 5 men are hired to complete a job. If one more man is hired, the job can be completed 8 days earlier. Assuming that all the men work at the same rate, how many more men should be hired so that the job can be completed 28 days earlier? So it says 5 men are hired to complete a job. Okay. So let's say, but that we do not know in how many days they complete that job now. So we say let the number of days for 5 men to complete be X, because we have to write an equation, no, that 5 men can finish a task in how many days. So we do not know that. So we are assuming those as X. Now, you know that men, if you have more men, you can finish the work in less days. So that means number of men and days are inversely proportional to each other. So if 5 men takes X days to complete the job, and if you're doing unitary method, 1 man will take, since they are these are inversely proportional to 5 into X days to complete the job. Okay, rather than dividing it, we are multiplying it because they are inversely proportional. And 6 men, because one more man is added, it will take how much? X multiplied by 5 divided by 6 days. You can do this whole thing like this method as well, ratio and proportion method, if you feel like, but unity method is also fine. Now remember, since the job can be completed 8 days earlier, one more man is hired, which means this is 5 into X is 5X upon 6 is X is the total number of days, and we are completing the work 8 days earlier. So we have to, in from the total number of days, you have to subtract 8. This is assumption. Now, since one more man is hired, okay. Now remember, this 6 comes from where? This is cross multiplication. We are multiplying this 6 with the whole of this. So let's open the bracket. 6 into X is 6X minus 6, 8 is a 48. So we are going to take this 6 on the other side, and it's going to get negative X. So X will be 48. 48 are total number of days that 5 men will complete the work in 48 days. And since the job, if one more man is added, 5 men can finish the work in 48 days. If one more man is added, so they are going to complete, that means there will be 6 number of men, and they're going to complete the work 8 days earlier. That means 48 minus 8 will be 40. And we have to find out how many more men are required to complete the day, complete the work 28 days earlier. So 40 minus 28 is 12. So the question basically is like this: 6 men can finish a task in 40 days. How many men will be required to finish the task in 12 days? This is what the question is. So we know that men are days are inversely proportional to each other. So this is increasing upwards. So that means we require more men to complete the work in less days. So this will go down. So how are we going to write from tail to head? That means we're going to write 6 first, then X, then 12, then 40. And we're going to multiply 6 with 40 is equals to 12 with X. Or you can say 12 with X is equal to 6 with 40. And to find number of men, we are going to divide this 240 by 12, which will be 20. That means 20 men can finish the work in 12 days. Now, previously we knew that originally there were 5 men. So how many more men are required? The question is, how many more men are required or should be hired? So we are going to subtract from 25. That means additional number of men that are required are 7. With this, we complete review exercise. We'll try to do 2 more questions that includes a little bit of science formulas. But for now, you may try to do those leftovers by yourself, and hopefully I'll come up with another video in the coming class. Until then, the task is that you try the other review sums by yourself, the problem sums. But then, if the time permits, and we'll try to do the science-based questions also.